Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS, FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. Hold on to your hats because what's brewing behind the scenes right now in the NFL is nothing short of electrifying for the Falcons. Rumors are swirling, and insiders close to Adam Schefter are pointing to some serious, game-changing moves that could redefine our division and elevate Atlanta's Super Bowl chances. No, I'm not just talking about some minor trade here or there. This is a blockbuster, potentially a game-changer for 2026 and beyond. It's all about Montez Sweat, the explosive edge rusher from the Chicago Bears, and how he might be heading to Atlanta. Let's break down what's happening behind the curtain. The Falcons, sitting at a 4-5 record in the NFC South, have been battling some issues on defense, especially since the injury to Judon in Week 4. Judon, who's been a major force for us, went down with a knee injury, causing him to miss 3 games, and that's clearly taken a toll. The defense started leaking points, giving up 26 points per game after Judon's injury, and that's not what we're used to seeing from a Falcons defense that's traditionally proud of its defensive grit. So it's no surprise that Atlanta's brain trust is looking for ways to shake things up, to inject some serious firepower into our pass rush and overall defense. Enter Montez Sweat. The Bears, sitting at 3-6 and in a bit of a rebuild mode after losing Williams to a shoulder injury in Week 5, are in a position where they're open to moving on from Sweat. Chicago has about $22 million in cap space, which gives them some flexibility, but they're prioritizing rebuilding their secondary and developing young players, especially after their rough start in the NFC North and their ongoing struggles with turnovers, having already forced 18 turnovers in just 9 games. The Bears aren't in a position to contend right now, and they're looking to free up cap space and acquire draft picks to focus on a rebuild. They're willing to part ways with Sweat in exchange for some mid-premium picks, specifically a first-round pick in 2026 and a third-rounder in 2027. For the Falcons, this isn't just about adding a player. It's about transforming our entire pass rush and elevating our defensive front. Sweat is a game wrecker with a first-step explosiveness and bend that makes him one of the most dangerous edge rushers in the league. In 2025, he's been dominant. In just 9 games, Sweat has recorded 9 sacks, placing him 5th among all edge rushers, along with 32 solo tackles, 14 assists, and 46 total tackles. His pass rushing metrics are off the charts, with a PFF grade of 89.6, a pressure rate of 26%, and a run-stop win percentage of 45%. His EPA per snap is 0.38, and he's gotten 2 forced fumbles and allowed minimal yards after contact. For a player with such a high impact, Sweat is a perfect fit for Atlanta's defensive scheme, especially given our current needs. But it's not just about this season. Sweat's career stats are impressive. 52 sacks over 92 games, with 2 Pro Bowl selections. His power and bend remind many of the elite pass rushers like Bosa at his peak. Injuries have slightly slowed him down, like the rib injury in Week 2 that limited him to just 1 game. But overall, he's been a consistent force when healthy. His win rate against double teams is around 28%, and he allows only about 85 yards per game allowed, top 10 among edge rushers. That kind of production is exactly what the Falcons need to push us over the top. Now, the Bears, in their effort to get cap flexibility and rebuild their roster, are openly shopping Sweat, aiming to acquire picks that will help them develop their secondary and bolster their offensive line. They're focused on avoiding luxury tax and fixing their turnover issues, which have been a big problem this season. Their defense, especially their run defense, has struggled, allowing 142 yards per game on the ground, and they're prioritizing a rebuild centered around their secondary and young players. Chicago's primary motivation is clear. They want to develop their young talent, especially after losing Odayingbo to an Achilles tear in Week 7, and they're willing to part with Sweat to do so. For the Falcons, landing Sweat would be a huge boost. Imagine a duo of Judon and Sweat rushing the passer. These two could be a nightmare for any offensive line in the league. Sweat's explosiveness and bend, combined with Judon's veteran savvy, could form a pass-rushing duo that makes opposing quarterbacks nervous every time they drop back. Already, Sweat has shown he can elevate our defense. His addition could push us into the top 10 in points allowed, lower our yards surrendered on the ground, and give Raheem Morris even more creative options with blitz packages. We've seen how aggressive Morris can be, sending blitzes at a 42% success rate without giving up big plays, and Sweat's presence on the line would only amplify that. This move could also have ripple effects in our overall team performance. With Sweat creating pressure up front, Kirk Cousins and the Vikings' offense would be under constant stress, leading to more stops, more turnovers, and more scoring opportunities for Atlanta. Cousins, who's been efficient, completing 1% of his passes for 7-8 yards per attempt with 16 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, would find it much harder to settle into a rhythm if Sweat and Judon are consistently in his face. Our offense, led by Kyle Pitts' big play ability, could take advantage of those defensive breakdowns. Pitts, with 512 yards and a PFF grade of 85.2, has been a mismatch nightmare, and with the added pressure on defenses, we could see our red zone efficiency jump from 52% to 68%. From a standings perspective, the implications are huge. The Super Bowl odds for the Falcons could see a significant boost if we manage to land Sweat. Currently, our Super Bowl chances are around +50, but with a player of Sweat's caliber, that number could drop dramatically, making us more serious contenders. The AFC has some formidable teams, but with a dominant pass rush and a balanced defense, the Falcons could position themselves as dark horses, especially if we make a strong playoff push. Sweat's addition would also serve as a catalyst for our defense to become more consistent and dangerous, helping us close out games more effectively. Looking back, the Falcons have always been a franchise with a rich history of developing great pass rushers, and adding Sweat would be a continuation of that tradition. The potential move is reminiscent of past trades that have boosted teams' defensive performances. Think of how the Steelers boosted their defense with T.J. Watt, or how the Packers improved their rush with a trade that brought in key pieces. Sweat, with his power and explosiveness, could be the missing piece that takes our defense from good to elite. And let's not forget the broader picture here. The NFC South is wide open this season, with teams like the Bucs, Saints, and Panthers all trying to find their footing. But with Sweat on our side, and the rest of our defense playing at full throttle, the Falcons could become one of the most feared teams in the league. His presence could also influence our draft strategy, giving us more flexibility to focus on other areas of need, knowing that we have a premier pass rusher ready to make an immediate impact. So fans, what do you think? Is this trade the move that pushes us over the edge? Can Sweat become the X factor that finally helps us break that playoff barrier and chase the Super Bowl? The signs are promising, and if this move happens, it would send shockwaves through the NFC South and beyond. The Atlanta Falcons are on the cusp of something big, and Sweat could be the catalyst that propels us into a new era of dominance. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Atlanta Falcons. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Atlanta Falcons news.